Hi, my name is Orshaya Pali, and this is a very brief introduction to the Singapore Drug Dictionary authoring tool, which is integrated into SNOAL, our terminology authoring platform. A quick overview on the user interface that we're looking at. On the left-hand side, you can see the SNOMED City concept hierarchy, which contains the international SNOMED City release and the additional Singaporean extension. On the right-hand side, there are reference sets, which are collections of SNOMED City concepts. These concepts are usually collected for a specific purpose. One of these purposes could be to map one terminology to another, for example, to map the Singapore Drug Dictionary codes to the ATC classification codes. Another purpose could be to group these concepts by a particular domain in order to enable creating drug definitions using the contents of these reference sets. For an example, here we have this dose form reference set. If you open it, you can see that there are over 600 concepts in it. All are dose form concepts from the SNOMED City hierarchy, and each of these concepts can be applied as a dose form when you create a definition, a description of a drug product. These reference sets are supporting our source drug editor, so let's take a look at that. You can browse the existing drugs that I entered into the system down in this navigator, and we can create a new one by clicking on this new medication source data button. As I mentioned, the definition is depending on SNOMED City, so we need to specify a version first and add a commit comment. I'm going to create this drug called co-amoxiclav. So this is my empty source drug editor. It has a very basic hierarchical structure. Each drug product can have multiple subpacks. In each subpack, it's possible to have a number of components, and each component can have multiple ingredients within it. I like to start adding the definitions from the ingredient level. So first I select the first ingredient, which is amoxicillin trihydrate. And you can see that as I'm searching in this field, I have a limited list where I can select from, and that list is populated from an ingredient reference set that is a collection of SNOMED codes used to describe the ingredient. Besides the ingredient, I have a number of options for specifying the basis of strength substance, and I can add a strength value to my drug product, which will be 500 milligram for the amoxicillin trihydrate. I would like to add another ingredient, which I can do by clicking on this Add New Ingredient button, and that other ingredient is going to be the clavulanate potassium. Also, I need to specify the basis of strength substance for this clavulanate potassium from 3 available options, and I add a strength value, which is going to be 125 milligrams. On the subpack level, I need to specify a particular dose form, which is selected from the dose form reference that we were looking at earlier. And since I want to create both the generic and the traded or branded products, I can specify a trade name root, which will be applied on the branded product. And I save my editor. And at this point, we would move on, and using this definition, we would generate ontology and concepts into the SNOMED City hierarchy. It is possible to have a preview on what is actually going to be generated here. We have a number of hierarchies, both traded and unbranded, where on the very top level we have a very abstract definition of the drug using only the ingredients, whereas at the bottom level we have a very detailed description with strength, those form trade name and the ingredients included, and as you can see on the tooltip, there are a number of different descriptions that are applicable for each concept. One, for example, is the 60 character short name for later use in systems that could only work with a description of 60 characters. Thank you very much for your attention and have a nice day.